All right. Hello, my name is Katie Blondeau, and I am presenting the Pine Ridge Youth Gardens grants. And these are the 10 grants that we went through and thought would match best with our program that we are seeking to implement at Pine Ridge. So, first of all, we need to talk about the problem that we are addressing at Pine Ridge Reservation. So, food insecurity is a very big problem that is faced here, and there is definitely a need for more youth community-based growing spaces. And with these two problems, we chose to kind of combine them. And we wanted to do a gardening program where the youth could come in and learn gardening skills and then give back to the community at the same time. So, garden programs do already exist on the Pine Ridge Reservation, but food insecurity remains a serious issue across all of it. There is limited access for fresh food and produce. Youth garden programs can connect fresh food access with mental wellness, mentorship, cultural education, and hands on learning. So, this is a lot of that giving back to the community that I was talking about. So, our mission is to improve food security through a youth gardening program. This kind of tackles two problems that the Pine Ridge Reservation faces at once by supporting youth mental health and by creating a safe, structured space for connection and growth. So, the first grant that we looked at, and actually the one that we think is going to work best for us and our favorite one, as seen by the two asterisks up there, is the Agricultural and Food Research Initiative Competitive Grants Program, Education and Workforce Development. This grant supports education and workforce development in food and agricultural sciences. Because of this, it's a strong fit for the Pine Ridge Youth Gardens program that we're seeking to launch. It creates career and knowledge opportunities for youth. So, the program that we are seeking to implement is also working towards creating career and knowledge opportunities for youth. So this kind of lines up exactly with our mission statement. Clemson is eligible to apply, and awards range from $10,000 to $650,000, which would definitely, our program costs would definitely fall within that for at least 1 year. This is chosen as our top grant option because, like I said, it aligns most closely with our Pine Ridge Gardens mission. And the deadline would be to submit by December 31st, 2026. So this is definitely our top option. Now, another one that we thought aligned very well and another one that could work is the Tribal Colleges Research Grants Program. This grant focuses on agricultural food systems, natural resources, and community development. So, natural resources is kind of added in on this grant, which differs from the first one. It supports 1994 land grant institutions serving Native communities. It is a good it has a good connection to Pine Ridge, and Clemson could partner with an eligible tribal college, which is also a land grant because Clemson is a land grant itself. The total funding is about $11.5 million, which is much more than the previous one because it awards between $150,000 to $2.5 million. The deadline is December 31st, 2026. And now the picture on the right is just a picture of the cover page that we found for the grant, and it just gives you those dates where it is needed to be applied for. And then this one is under the USDA, Department of Agriculture. So the third grant, and this is another option that we liked, and it's our third favorite option, is the AFRI Foundation and Applied Science Program. This grant supports food systems, nutrition, research, and rural communities. So that rural communities aspect is another reason why this grant would be a great fit for us at the Pine Ridge Reservation. Excuse me. It has a good connection to the Pine Ridge mission and the reservation. Total funding is about $300 million, and it awards between $10,000 to $10 million. So awards do get higher up there in numbers than the previous grants discussed. The deadline is December 31st, 2026, and Clemson is eligible for this one as well. Now, this grant is also a part of the USDA, Department of Agriculture. The next grant that we're talking about is our next favorite. This is the Captain Planet Foundation Grants Project Learning Garden. It supports hand-on environmental learning for youth. That hands-on aspect is a huge part of our Pine Ridge Reservation youth gardens that we're wanting to implement, and it focuses on garden-based education and food systems, which is another thing that aligns exactly. It provides materials for planting, harvesting, and healthy eating, which is wonderful. Those material being provided is a huge thing. Good connection to Pine Ridge again, and Clemson is eligible again. The deadline is unclear, but possible dates do include March 31st, June 20th, September 30th, or December 31st. And this grant is a part of the NC State extension. Next, we have the USDA Community Food Projects Competitive Grants Program. This program supports food security in low-income communities. So, as said before, the food insecurity is a huge issue on Pine Ridge reservations, and it is a low-income community. It focuses on long-term food access solutions, so it's a strong fit for the Pine Ridge Youth Gardens because of that long-term food solutions that we're looking for. It connects to underdeserved communities, food education, and local food systems. So all of those things kind of come together with the issue we're trying to tackle. It could support youth gardening, fresh food access, and agricultural skills, which are all things that we're trying to support. Eligible to receive funding, requesting that projects achieve at least one hunger-free community goal. So that's something that is a part of the eligibility pulled straight from the website for this grant. And Clemson could also apply as a partner for this one. This grant is a part of the National Sustainable Agricultural Coalition. Next, we have our specialty crop multi-state grant program. And we do not have asterisks, if you notice, next to these title slides, because these are the grants that align far less with our mission, so would not be our top choices. This one, funding is provided for projects working to improve the specialty crop industry. So specialty crop isn't quite what we're going towards. It does get into what some specialty crops are, but again, that doesn't align exactly. However, connection to Pine Ridge's food insecurities, that connection will build on the food access and the youth skills that we're trying to go for. It requires partners across multiple states, and funding is about $14 million, so kind of in that same range. The deadline is October 16th, 2026. If youth gardens focus on high-value crops and educational research into native food systems, this grant does offer very large ceilings, which is a plus. Next, we have federally recognized Tribes Extension Program. This grant is designed to support the land grant mission by bringing research-based knowledge and education to tribal communities. So the education for tribal communities is a huge part of this grant that aligns with us. And it's a goal to improve the quality of life and economic well-being for individuals and families living on tribal lands through informal education outreach. This grant didn't have much along the lines of gardening agricultural things in its mission, so that's another reason why it's not one of our top choices. However, it awards about $100,000, and this deadline is June 8th, 2026. Again, that number is pretty low, so another reason. Whole Foods Market Foundation, with Whole Foods Market Foundation, obviously, supports K through 12 school gardens and food education. So this is something that does align very well with our mission. It encourages healthy eating, nutrition, and hands-on learning. And it aligns with Pine Ridge's need for youth food security and fresh food access. So this one does align very well. It could help fund garden materials and school partnerships, similar to the previous grant we discussed, and the value is about $3,500. And the deadline is the next cycle, February 2027. Now we have the Atina Foundation, Cultivating Healthy Communities. This grant targets the social determinants of health with a focus on underdeserved populations. It prioritizes projects bridging the gap between fresh food and mental wellness. Now, our project would certainly be going towards bridging that gap because, as said before, pouring back into the community is a way that youth mental health can be elevated. It utilizes community gardening as a safe space for youth and supports innovative local solutions for reducing stress and building emotional resilience. Again, this one aligns very well with our mental wellness being a big part of our mission. Clemson facilitates the academic community bridge required by the foundation's funding priorities. So that's a good thing with eligibility there. Anticipates mental health indicators among Pine Ridge youth through nature-based therapy and enhanced community safety and social connection. And the deadline is the October cycle. So with that nature-based therapy, that community gardening that we would be doing is a form of nature-based therapy for the youth there. Now, finally, we have the OJJDP Title II Formula Grants Program. This is the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. So this really does align well with our mission as well. And this one focuses and supports local and state efforts to prevent juvenile delinquency. Funds training and research initiatives that improve the juvenile justice system, and it requires compliance with specific state plan requirements to ensure high standard programming. It targets after school hours by providing a structured environment for youth. Again, this is one of those things where we were looking at keeping the youth busy after school so they can find something that they can pour themselves into and hopefully keep them out of any harmful activities. It uses community gardening as a vessel for leadership development and community accountability. So this aligns obviously perfectly with our mission. And it addresses the Department of Justice's priority of funding delinquency prevention with tribal communities. This is another one that aligns very well with us, and the deadline is May 4th, 2026. So that is all the grants that we have. Those are the 10 ones that we went through, and our top ones are the ones with the asterisks. And we are really hoping that the work at Pine Ridge can just be continued.